Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and today I'm out in the garage. I'm working on a snowblower I just got, and I figured I'd take you guys through it. And this thing needs a lot of repairs. The snowblower we're working on is an Atlas model. It's a dual stage snow thrower, and I picked this up for $100. The unit runs a little bit, not very well. But I kind of thought I could go through it and clean it up, and I don't know, probably get about $300 or $350 for it, especially if there's a snowstorm that comes up. And the tracks work, the transmission works, everything works on it. It has all the parts. It's just a little bit beat up. You can see the pull starts ripped. And there's several issues with the auger. It's missing the handle there to tighten up the deflector. Has a 5-horse Tecumseh. I like the fact that it has the metal chute, at least down at the bottom. You know, they replaced a lot of these parts with plastic in future years. And I've seen these things break all the time down here. I don't know how much money they really saved from going from this metal ring and this assembly here to the plastic. But the rest of the chute's plastic, so we'll fix that up. And there's several issues I saw with the auger. So I'll tilt that back and show you what's going on here. Another thing I didn't mention, it has electric start. According to the owner, the electric start works. I didn't even try and start it. He actually started it with the pull start and it broke, but it started and was running a little bit long enough that he could kind of show me that the transmission worked. I noticed one of the shear pins was broken here, so we'll put a new shear pin in. If you feel the auger, one of the things that you'll notice if you go like this is that it's wider on the bottom edge, which means it's scraping against the driveway. So this scraper bar is pretty worn, so I can adjust that, it looks like, or flip it and reattach it. And if you look down here, we're kind of bent in a little bit, and both shoes are worn out. So we're going to fix those shoes today on both sides, and because they're worn out, that's why they're getting wear in these augers. And I imagine there's probably about 1/8 of an inch of material worn off these augers, maybe even 1/4, depending how long it's been running like this. So you know, basic repairs on this thing we're going to go through today and fix it up. So I'm going to begin by trying to pull off the shoe, and this thing's pretty well rusted here. So just a shot of PV Blaster. We'll see if this will pop off or not. So far so good. I got a piece of angle here that I'm going to use, so it's got to be about that long. So I'm thinking I'll take this bracket, I cut some slits in this angle, and what I want to do is weld it on here like this, but I'm going to nibble away this excess material here. So I'm going to mark that and nibble it away. Here's a look at what I have. So I'm gonna put that on there, and I can weld it here, and I can weld it down here, and it should bolt right on. And I cut these slits so that I can bend the ends, and this should be real strong. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld it. Here's a look at the part. So I welded it like that. I cut those slits and just tapped it with a hammer so I could bend the ends. So they have a slight bend to them. I didn't weld this side. Doesn't need it. So I think I'll just throw some paint on there and go ahead and do the other one. Here's a look at that chainsaw I worked on, but I didn't get to show you it running. Well, I threw a little spray paint on those shoes, and I think what I'm going to do is just try and straighten out these sides. Generally the metal's pretty thin on these things, and this one I think is an early 90s, so yeah, it's still pretty thin metal. I'm going to try and just kind of bend it a little bit. We'll see what we get. I'm going to start out using a wrench. I can see that bends really easily. It's not going to take too much here. Looks alright. Well, now I'm turning my attention over to the shear pins. I happen to have the right pins, so this one I just slipped one in here, and this one is actually loose, so I think he broke a shear pin and just put in some random bolt. Yeah, it's not a shear pin. So I'm just going to go through and put the pins in here. The idea is that these are sacrificial, and they'll actually break off rather than breaking your gearbox here. So you want to make sure that you have the right shear pins in case you hit something. So I'm going to install these. So I took a look down here at the gearbox on the auger, and I wanted to add some oil, and I have some gear lubricant there, and I was trying to get it to go in, and it's pretty cold out here today, so what I did is I added it to this so I could pump it in there, and that seemed to work good. And what you want to do is put the machine on level ground, and I could put the nozzle in here and then just pump the gear oil through until it leaks out on flat ground. And I let it actually overfilled a little bit, so it's been dripping here. And well, I went through the thing, new shear pins, put oil in the crankcase, put the shoes on there. Got the scraper bar. I just shifted that down about a 1/4 inch, and everything's adjusted right. I found a knob from a lawnmower. I had to cut the bolt off a little bit, but that's a nice fit there. And everything's good, so we're going to go ahead and start this thing up. Well, starter's not working. It sounds like it's not engaging. So either it's not springing up or those teeth are stripped. We're going to have to look at the starter. I put a rope on it too. Well, at least it runs. Looks like I'll be making a future video. We'll go through the starter and hopefully get everything running good. Looks like it's going to need a little bit of a tune-up too. So stay tuned for the next video. If you like this one, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.